Welcome to today's energy check-in reading. We have 3 groups for you to choose from. We have group 1 with the Sodalite, Mookaite and Amazonite. We have group 2 with the Tourmaline, I think it's Chrysoprase and the Moss Agate. And we have group 3 with the Labradorite, the Rainbow Moonstone and the Red Tiger's Eye. Timestamps will be in the description box so that you can jump ahead to the reading that you select. We'll get started with group 1. Welcome group 1 to today's energy check-in reading. So today's card that was under your crystal selection was the Queen of Cups. I'm definitely feeling like this is a more intuitively aware or in touch group, even if you don't recognize it within yourself. There could be a time of a lot of emotions. But even though this is the Queen of Cups, I was getting like High Priestess energy from this card. For those of you that don't resonate with the intuition, it's just a lot of like emotions, but I feel like it's like a full embodiment of your emotions where you're able to feel them all. And there's space for you to supportively hold all your emotions and let them coexist at once, without having to compartmentalize things or put things off until later. It's like you're able to hold space for all of it right now, for all of you, and it's actually, I think, quite a fulfilling thing that you're able to do, whether you recognize it or not. Okay, so they're starting off, we have this Four of Swords energy where you could be feeling burnt out or defeated, or like I'm even getting a sense of feeling battered and bruised. For others of you, it could just be a time to take deep rest. And I definitely get the essence of resting before you are forced to rest, although I feel like for most of you, you're already in that state where resting isn't a choice. You're already at a place where you need to rest because there is no other choice. And I'm getting something here with the Devil card about mental restraints or constraints and feeling stuck within them. And I'm being drawn back to the Queen of Cups card here, where it's like you knowing that you're holding space for all of you and everything within you is essentially what's going to get you through this period of time. I also feel my crown opening up, and I definitely feel like I'm getting energy come through. And in this card for the Queen of Cups, there is like a little crown floating above her head, probably closer, if it's not the crown chakra, probably closer to where the soul star chakra would be, or one of the smaller ones in between. Maybe not smaller ones, but one of the less known chakras in between. And for some of you, I do get a sense of this is actually like some sort of like energy healing or alchemical type of work that's happening here through the processing of emotions or deep inner work that you've been doing. For some of you, it may be shadow work. For some of you, I feel like you've been going to the depths of your soul or your subconscious. It's really bizarre because this energy coming in through my crown is a little bit different to what it usually feels like. It almost has a sensation of feeling prickly, and you can see in this Devil card where there's almost like this glittery gold energy or something flowing through the background and through the hair of this man in the card. But I don't feel like the energy coming through is bad or anything like that. I think it's good. I actually think in some ways you're actually quite protected from whatever this devil energy is. You may be having like hard times and really feeling stuck and really caught in that like restraint and constraint of the I want to say some sort of like mental loop or rumination or something like that. I've lost it. That doesn't matter. We'll just move on. Okay. Anyway, I'm getting a really bizarre message for some of you. It may not be like mental. I don't know. What are we trying to say? For some of you, it's more of a Capricorn energy where it's like some sort of logical thinking to find the sustainability or the sustainable outcome of a certain situation is leaving you feel burnt out in your brain, like there's some sort of like mental exhaustion or something like that. So just take that as that applies. Don't try to make it fit for your situation if it doesn't. And it's like when that's happening, you're called to step back into your emotions, or you're called to step back into tuning into how you feel. You're called to step back into the present moment. You're called to take downtime. You're called to tune into your intuition in any way that you can. Okay. Once you're able to get past that phase, you'll essentially unlock this Nine of Cups energy, which is like that wish fulfillment or wish fulfillment. Now, what is happening here? It's like every time I get through one card, I'm like being drawn back to this Queen of Cups original card that we're working with. That seems to be like the overarching energy of the reading. So, you know, we talked about like needing rest or being burnt out or feeling defeated, or I don't know, even the sense of maybe licking wounds here, being called back to the Queen of Cups. And when we move on to the Devil, there's the possible like ruminating thoughts or being caught on a loop or some sort of like mental exhaustion or something like that. And then being called back to the Queen of Cups to, you know, embody our emotions and, you know, remember that we're holding space for ourselves and all of that. Once we can get past that mental loop or exhaustion that we're experiencing because we've been able to return to this place of the Queen of Cups, we'll, in a sense, it's almost a sense of like breaking free. So this Nine of Cups, even if maybe your wish fulfillment is to break free of whatever this cycle is, maybe for some of you the reason why you're burnt out in the first place is because it's part of this cycle where maybe this cycle is actually on repeat. There's actually circles around the borders of both of these cards. So for some of you, you may actually be going through a cycle of the rumination and mental exhaustion, or feeling stuck, or something happening here, some sort of extenuating circumstance that's really affecting where you're at, and the need to like rest and recover from it because it's actually so exhausting. Even if it's just starting off as mental exhaustion, it ends up in physical exhaustion, and it's actually really full on. And this energy is really hectic for this reading so far, so please bear with me as we get through it. Yeah, I definitely feel like I want to tell you to do some grounding, but for this group I want you to ground in water. So if you can go to the beach, it will be phenomenal. If you have a bathtub, grab some Epsom salts, that will be phenomenal. If, you know, going for a swim or having a bath is an issue, get a water bottle of some kind and take it to the beach and fill it up with the salt water. If you don't have access to salt water, I want you get some water out of the tap and put some salt out of the cupboard into the water, and just sit with it or hold it and meditate with it. For some of you, I feel like you'll know who it's for when I say this, but for some of you, if it rains like over the next couple of days from the time after you watching this reading, go out and stand in the rain, because that's going to help you ground phenomenally as well. I actually have felt this whole reading like I've really struggled to speak up. I'm actually hoping that this is loud enough for the video, and I'm just grateful I don't have as much background noise today as what I have had in the most recent videos. But I think that this is actually something that's also, I don't know if it's a result of this situation here with the Devil and the Rest and Recover Four of Swords card, because this Queen of Cups actually has a lot of blue around her, and it's like that, what am I trying to say? The Queen of Cups is embodying her authenticity and being herself, and is the full almost the full expression of herself. She's doing a really good job of it, and when you're being yourself, you shouldn't feel that restraint or constraint to actually speak. For some of you, this mental loop or exhaustion may be caused from a sense of not feeling like you can be yourself, something to do with your situation, or maybe that's the thing that's playing out in your mind, even if there's nothing external happening. There's definitely people in this group where it's external, and there's definitely people in this group where it's more of an internal struggle. Yeah, I feel like this reading, it may be a bit hard to keep up with, so please don't try to make anything fit that you don't feel like it is for you. Going back to this Nine of Cups card here, I feel like part of the key to this wish fulfillment to break free here from whatever this old situation is you have to believe that you're worth it, and you have to believe that you're worth being able to be who you are, okay? Like, everybody else gets to be who they are, so why can't you? Especially, like, you know, when you're not going around hurting anybody or doing anything wrong, it's okay for you to be yourself. It's okay for you to like the things that you like, and it's okay for you to express yourself in the way that you do. And some people cry more than others, and some people use self-deprecating humor more than others, okay? Yeah. Whatever it is, it's like you need to... I feel like there may be a situation here where you need to dig a little bit deeper on the inside of how you feel about yourself, and be really kind and compassionate to yourself, and understand that you are worth it, and the fact that you're human on this earth says that you are, and you don't need anybody else's permission. Cool. For others of you, that's you know, that's one part of the group. For the other part of you, it's like this breaking free from whatever this old situation was or is actually going to really make you feel quite confident within yourself. Like, maybe this old situation has had you doubting yourself quite a lot, and when you break free, it's just going to like skyrocket your confidence in a really healthy, happy way, okay? Like a really beneficial and sustainable way. I do feel that this stage will still be overshadowed with a little bit of this old, I want to say, ruminating, darker energy, so whatever that is for you. But I feel like there's steady progression here out of all of these stages where your energy is gradually lightening up every step of the way, okay? So you need to keep trying, you need to keep going, you need to just keep doing what you've been doing and keep working on yourself and looking after yourself and resting where you can, and that whole thing of practicing holding space for yourself and knowing that you've done a good job of that. And you know, this is a weird message for me because I just hope that this comes out, if maybe not streamlined today because it's probably too much to ask of this reading, but I hope that it makes sense to you when you get it, or that you can pick out the pieces that are very clear and specific to you, because it's almost like we're seeing both sides of the coin here. There's one side where there's these really significant challenges that you're working through, and they may take a while to lift, and there's this other side where I know I'm seeing the Queen of Cups, but I keep wanting to say the High Priestess. And so I wonder if for some of you, it's like you're a healer in some sense, where it's like you have that in, you know, some sort of like spiritual or intuitive healer or something, because there is that sense of the Queen of Cups of being like emotionally and supportive, you know, emotionally fulfilling and supportive and nurturing. And then the High Priestess being very in touch with your intuition and in connection to the universe and whatnot. And like you've getting back to that duality thing where it's like you've done a lot of the work and you know how to do the work and you've done a really good job doing everything that you've done. I do wonder, I know I was saying it was for grounding with the water, but I do think for some of you, maybe the reason why it has to be water is because it has to be able to cleanse at the same time as it's grounding you. So yeah, that, especially because it was mostly about salt water. I mean, there was some of you that just needed the rain. Yeah, okay. I was just seeing a couple of like Chinese dragons on this card in my head. So I wonder if some of you have a significant link or connection in some way, or maybe this is some sort of overarching energy that's helping protect you during this time, because I still feel like there is a sense of protection here and it's almost being carried through. I am getting a really weird message of something feels like it may be looming over you, but whatever that is actually a type of like divine protection at the same time, even though it's not necessarily a great experience to have, if that makes sense. Whatever this breaking free is that you managed to do from, like, whatever this breaking free from this old situation is, I feel like it really, it almost feels like an internal sense of breaking free first. And once you internally are able to break free, because you've done this little bit extra work on your self-worth and everything, or you get to a place where you finally take the step or the leap, and then you end up experiencing that confidence on the other side, it maybe will give you enough confidence to propel you to actually start the new journey, to leave this old situation behind for good, where it's that sense of like going to new lands. But maybe for some of you it will be actually moving away from where you currently are. For others of you, it may be just leaving that situation and starting somewhere new, somewhere blank, where that's figuratively speaking. So whether that's emotionally, mentally, behavioral patterns, and anything like that. It doesn't just have to be like the location. For some of you it could be a new family as well. Leaving for some of you, it's leaving old friends and family behind and finding new friends and family in this new space. And for some of you, I feel like it's not really leaving family behind. For some of you, I feel like it's just leaving old friends behind and welcoming in new friends as you're entering into that new space. And I feel like it's ultimately really heartfelt and supportive, and it's a place where you belong, where you end up, okay? And when I say that, I'm not telling you to blindly just assume that you belong wherever you wind up, because that was part of the reading. You still need to use your discernment and have responsibility for life as it plays out. So if it's a place that you don't feel safe, I would say that maybe this reading wasn't for you, because the ultimate telltale sign is that you should feel safe when you get there, okay? Yeah. Now there's a link for these two cards of the Six of Swords and the Lovers here, which are both the number 6. So the number 6 may be very significant to you at this time. Or even for some of you, the number 66. Now, I was also getting a message before I started the reading. I was getting the word sublimination, and I don't actually know what that means. So I'm going to have fun searching that on the internet afterwards and working out later why that's actually come into the readings. It's the joys of not having a great vocabulary or being very educated. Anyway, so the way that whatever this new relationship is that enters into your life, that seems, I wanted to say overwhelmingly familiar or fulfilling, is the key is that you have to leave this old space or situation, because it's never going to actually progress until you do. I feel like for some of you, this situation, this new person coming into your life, it already starts before you actually make the physical move away from this space. So even if it's not a physical space, it may be that like the move of the internal space away from like the old pattern or something like that. I think for a lot of you, this is actually physical in some sense. So even if you're not like moving like, you know, your suburb or town or city or any state or whatever, anything like that, it doesn't have to be a big move. It may just be a different house or something. But for some of you, it may actually be leaving like, yeah, moving house. And it's like you live with people. So some of your roommates, you're going to have different roommates if you're a moving house, is what I'm trying to say. I don't feel like you would be taking anyone with you, yeah, outside of family and, you know, yeah. Okay. Just to reiterate, I did mention at some point that for some of you it would be like old friends and family not coming with you. That's not for everybody. You'll know if that's actually part of your message. Okay, so I do feel called to come back to the Queen of Cups card here again after the Six of Swords, because there's a sense of like purification within the energy and a magnetism that comes from you and to you because of how much more emotionally fulfilled or supportive or safe you will be from leaving that old situation behind, okay? Now, moving forward, this new relationship, I almost have a sense that the new relationship is actually quite fulfilling. Not fulfilling, sorry. There's maybe a strong sense of like a spiritual or energetic connection between the two of you. This card, like, I do think that this is about a relationship, but it won't be for all of you. For some of you, it will just signify a really deep, meaningful relationship that doesn't have to be romantically inclined, okay? Whatever this is, though, I do feel like you may feel like, I wanted to say like twin souls. I know nothing about the twin flame journey, and that's not my path, so You will know whether that's something for you that you're experiencing or not. But with the twin souls, this is different because I don't hear people speak of it in that term. Maybe it is the same thing and it's just coming through me in a different way. But it feels ultimately really peaceful. There's no back and forth. There's no weird on and off energy. It's very solid, it's very stable, and it's very peaceful. It's ultimately more peaceful and harmonious than anything else. And if it's not that, then it's not what I'm talking about. I do feel like there's a lot of passion, drive, and focus here between the two of you, with a very deeply spiritual connection. Now this card is not the card of a Sagittarius, but there is like the bow and arrow tattoo, which I'm sure is to signify like Cupid's bow in this card, but it's making me specifically think of Sagittarius being the archer. So there could be something relevant there, more to the passion, more to the passion that Sagittarius brings. For some of you, either of you or your person could have strong Sagittarius placements, or could just be in Sagittarius energy during this time. But I feel like it's more directly linked to the level of passion that you share in some way. Okay, so now that we've made it through those cards, I also had the Chrysoprase brought to this reading just to be here with us. And I feel like this is actually a message of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like learning to stay calm during like choppy waters or rough waters or something like that. So it's like, maybe the journey is not really that smooth, but if you can learn to stay calm during this journey or through the rough waters, it's like you will, like nothing will ever upset you, or like there's nothing you won't be able to withstand, is what I'm trying to say. For those of you interested, this is Chrysoprase, and it may be a crystal that you're interested in working with. Okay, now the crystals that were actually on top of the card. So we have the Mookaite Jasper with some red and yellow. We have the Sodalite with I want to say like a purpley, maybe even indigo kind of color, and the Amazonite with more of like a turquoisey sort of greenish color and some white through it. I'm just going to take a moment and see if I get something else come through here, because I feel like there's something going on that I haven't pulled through yet. Okay, so the messages that I'm getting at the moment using the Amazonite is that the Amazonite would be good for you during that like new start, new space, new situation, new lands, new location. It would be good for you to work with for like a heartfelt expression. But it is also highlighting like the beach being important, or the water being important. The Mookaite, starting backwards. Okay, so they want me to tell you that the Sodalite will help you with your intuitive stuff. So I feel like it's for the third eye. And I was seeing the High Priestess with it again as well as the Queen of Cups. So I'm mostly feeling drawn to working with the Sodalite in regards to your third eye. So that may help and strengthen your connection in some way. And like I always say, you don't need crystals to do the work, right? You are more than welcome to do a meditation around your third eye, or use healing frequency music regarding the third eye chakra, or something like that, where you're strengthening that connection as well based on that energy, okay? And then with the Lovers card, this Mookaite Jasper, it's really like a sense of strength, stability, and security that is formed in this new relationship, that gives you a lot of confidence. Yeah. I think this person makes you feel like you belong, which is lovely, okay? For some of you, this person may also be very high energy, or once you're with them or spending time around them, you will actually feel really high energy, as opposed to maybe not having experienced that for quite a long time, because they're actually good for you, because they don't take away from you. Yeah, I feel like this person coming in is a really good person for you. Lots of passion though, lots of drive, lots of passion. I wonder if when you two get together, you kind of bounce off each other, or if you really motivate each other, where it's like you both are really get set on your paths. And yeah, okay, there's more here. I'm getting a message of her hair is an extension of herself, and she need not do anything to it to alter the way in which she shows up within the world, instead of embracing herself. That doesn't have to be regarding, it can be like a genderless expression. That can go for anyone. It's just the way it comes through. There's some sort of intertwined connection here where I do feel like it will be hard for you to maintain a sense of being separate from each other within this connection though. So I do think it would be really good to make sure that you have and maintain any boundaries, and that you still have and maintain any sense of independent self-identity. Continue the hobbies and interests that you have and that you already spend time doing. Don't park them, and don't let them fall to the wayside here. Don't let yourself get so distracted that you forget about yourself. As much as we can get enthralled in new connections, not even new connections, really deep, meaningful connections, and it can be hard getting carried away. It's really important that we maintain a level of self-identity, so that we don't necessarily just meld into being a couple. We still need to be ourselves. For some of you, that may feel a little bit scary, having that level of attachment, but I think that it would be really good developmentally for you in your self-growth and your self-love. I'm just hearing these seeds are going to wither you, but don't let them harden you. So it's like, again, that message of having a hard journey, but not hardening as a result of it. It's that message to try to stay soft and loving and open to the possibility of new connections that aren't the same as the others that you've had, okay? Not everybody out there is out to get us. As hard as, even though we can fall into patterns of accepting less, I feel like this time, as long as you stay in touch with your own intuition, rest where you need to. Probably I don't know, part of me wants to tell you to rest more than what you think you should rest, because it's like you don't understand that you need more rest than you do, or you don't think that you're worthwhile somehow being able to rest, maybe because there's some sort of link around having to feel productive or useful for people. You deserve rest, and you're not going to be any use to people unless you rest anyway. And there's a level of self-compassion there that you need to have for you. And if you were able to speak, like see a friend going through what you're going through, or a person that means a lot to you, I think you would probably tell them to rest as well. And to, maintain that level of, I guess, identity of yourself, like being a separate person, like you still do the things that you like to do, still, still go off and do something on your own every now and then. It's really easy to get lost in brilliant connections. I definitely feel like for you and this person, you have some level of deep understanding of each other, even if you don't resonate with a message of like a spiritual or energetic connection. I mean, everybody at the end of the day has an energetic connection or a spiritual connection of some kind, but I was trying to say it might be like intense or a deeper connection. Even if you don't resonate with that message, I still feel like for you two people that there's some deep level of understanding or being seen or something like that within the connection, okay? It's like what you give each other or what happens when the two of you are together is deeply profound, and it's ultimately really fulfilling, and it gives you that strong sense of belonging, and I think that can be hard to come by in the world sometimes, okay? I'm just hearing like take the time to go easy and to go steady. So this is not a connection that you want to rush regardless of the level of passion here. I think that you've got more than ample time to actually let this play out as it does and unfold, and let it be fulfilling. And that if you are going to pull your energy back for a little bit here and there at different times when you are down and you need rest, or maybe the chips are down, or you need to have like a mental health day or week or whatever it is, or you're withdrawing from life a bit because there's been a lot going on, or some sort of chaos or something there, or you're feeling stuck at different times. The way one of the signifiers for this person or this connection is going to be that they're still going to be there when you're done, okay? They're not going to just like up and go because they get bored. They're not just going to up and go because you took to, like, I don't know, even if it's not about the time, it could be about you going inwards or withdrawing. They're not going to get cold feet, okay? It's like this person's going to wait. I'm hearing this person's really grounding and really sensible. And there's something about you'll recognize it when you see it. And I'm getting a sense here of you'll know this person when you see them, or it won't take, like maybe when you start conversating or start spending time together, you'll know immediately. This person is your person. Okay. I'm just going to take a couple more cards. All right, so that's basically like a lot of the reading, and I do feel like the energy check-in part of the reading was probably mostly about that Queen of Cups, where, yeah, I'm getting more there again, all right. Okay. I'm just getting a few keywords coming through, so I'm getting like buoyant, magnifying, fulfilling, creative, flowing. Getting the moon, so it's like that connection with the moon and the cycles, the lunar cycles. For some of you, you may want to do work with the lunar cycles or specific times of the lunar cycles. For some of you, the full moon. For some of you, the new moon. So, you'll all know, For some of you, putting some water outside of a nighttime over whichever lunar cycle you choose, maybe predominantly a full moon, will be a way that you can moon charge the water with that energy. So trying to speak and channel at the same time sometimes is not always easy. So charging that water with the moon's energy and then using it in some sort of like ritualistic practice later on, or some sort of energetic practice later on, will probably be really helpful for you as well. And just that message again of keeping your cup filled, so doing things to look after yourself and care for yourself. I'm also getting a message of she sees her heart full. Again, a genderless thing. A lot of the stuff I say is going to come through in regards to the feminine, but it's not. It's for everybody. It's just the example and the way it comes through. Okay. All right, so we'll go back to pulling that extra card. I think we just want one, so unless like a couple pop out at once, I think that's where we'll probably stop, unless we are guided otherwise. Okay, for some of you, it's like a balance between ether and ether, or like the mundane and the magical. And yeah, I wonder for some of you if this time where these situations have been playing out has felt like paying your dues. And so when you learn to find this balance, you'll essentially in some way also end up having paid off your dues during this time. What is it? I'm just getting you've been dealt enough of the rough cards and it's time to move on. So there is that sense of being the wounded warrior sometimes with the Nine of Wands, and having a sense of being maybe like a fearless person, but sometimes not necessarily so trusting, or maybe being a bit defensive from our previous circumstances. I do feel like this group has definitely some level of being connected to your intuition. Even if you don't think you are, I think there's more to it than you realize. And they're just highlighting a significance between the Temperance card here and the Sodalite, and it's like building that connection. Yeah. So it actually kind of makes a lot of sense if you don't know that you are, because they are continuing to mention strengthening exercises. So if you can meditate, if you can be living in the present moment, if you can ground yourself, keep your energy cleansed and clear, if you can pray, if you can go quiet, if you can do shadow work, if you can ask yourself the hard questions, if you can go on the inevitable journey of self-love and I guess a healing journey, for the lack of a better expression, that in itself can do a lot. And I do feel like there's a sense here of an inner beauty emanating outwardly, to where maybe there's a sense of you being such a beautiful person. Not only is it infectious to other people, or other people can sometimes be very strongly captivated or consumed by this like lovely inner beauty that you have, but I feel like it actually physically pushes out through your external, to where not only do you just have like a lovely energy, and it's like your physical appearance takes on this inner outer beauty quality. Okay, maybe people notice, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure what it is, I just feel like you look really good when you learn to find balance. Okay, so there's like an extra little message there. Looking after yourself doesn't mean that you've softened, and softening isn't necessarily a bad thing. Coming from a place of vulnerability is actually quite a strong thing to do. So sometimes we need that reminder of that message. And inevitably, I think once you've gotten to that point where you feel like your fortune starts to change, or no, actually that's not really right. It's like once you feel like you've paid off your dues, it's like your fortune starts to change, where you do step into more abundance than what you previously had. For some of you, I wonder if there's some level of like karmic stuff going on here, where at a very specific point in time, your fortune changes. And do you know what's actually kind of funny? The way that what are we being drawn to? What's this? I'm just getting a message that like you are the high priestess. No one need tell you that you are. So I wonder if you're looking for external validation, and you're probably not going to get that, and it's not about that. And the reason why you won't actually get a form of external validation would be because it's for you to learn about yourself, okay? Now, what I was going to say before that I noticed is that this seems to be the very specific split within the group of cards here of where things change and get better for you, okay? So there's that level of paying your dues, finding balance, being able to support yourself, letting go of these like old situations and scenarios that no longer serve us, that keep us stuck, keep us ruminating, keep us in a poor mental space. And then we step into this energy where we feel like we're breaking free, we're on to newer and better things, we're finding people we have deep, meaningful connections with, and we actually step into abundance. There's a very clear, specific line here in which almost fortune changes. I keep wanting to say fortune changes. I don't know if that necessarily means like monetary or material wealth or possessions as per se. It's more or less like your luck or your actual fortune. Like maybe things have seemed unnecessarily hard for you or unfair. I don't really get a sense of, I don't know. I'm not going to try to judge that. You know what you've been through. It just seems like it's been hard or it's been a lot, okay? So that's what I'm getting. And the main point, I guess, they're mentioning here is they're bringing it back to working at maintaining that level of balance, okay? And if we couldn't say it enough times already, they want you to make sure that you do stay grounded. So it's like particularly keeping your energy clean and clear and grounding yourself as well. Anything that makes you feel secure is good, okay? And I don't mean like unhealthy habits that give you a false sense of security. I mean something that's real and wholesome and good for you. If you notice a sense of security and you can see all the green ticks in every other way on a potential checklist, then it's probably a good sign, okay? You use your own discernment anyway. Okay, is that everything? There's still something here. Oh, we're gonna sage the cards. Just clear up any energy that's expressed itself during this reading. Okay, group one, that's everything that I have for you today. Thank you for joining me. I hope that this resonated, and I'll see you in another video. Welcome group 2 to today's reading. Today's reading is primarily an energy check-in, so we'll see how that manifests as we go. If you chose the Tourmaline, the Chrysoprase, and actually it's not Chrysoprase, it's Aquamarine, and the Moss Agate, then this is your group. I feel like you're ultimately starting off in a place of, I want to say good fortune, good energy, and good foundations, where maybe people have put you on a bit of a pedestal here. Okay, so I'm just getting there's lots of fire, lots of fun, lots of liveliness, maybe even some wild behavior, which is really bizarre because I was ultimately getting this as the energy of like really strong foundation. So, I mean, I guess if you're having fun and all of these things, then you probably do have a really good foundation because everything's solid enough for you to step into that energy where you can do that and embody that. We're getting a bizarre message here of what is going on in this tent that they don't know about. Okay, we're just going to go with it. This won't be for everybody, but we're just going to see like what comes out. I'm getting something about there's like a holy matrimony going on inside the tent, and these people are outside missing everything that's going on because they're like too caught up in whatever it is that they're doing or they've got going on. And there's almost like a bizarre sense of lack of responsibility here, but then the people in the tent are ultimately being like very responsible. And there's an element of maybe being more serious, and the people outside the tent are not being nowhere near serious enough for this scenario or to be at this event or something like that. Maybe you're just getting caught up in the moment, having fun or something. I'm not really sure. This is weird because it's already, what I'm getting coming through is conflicting, so. I'm getting another message of it would be good for you to like take the time to go deep within and see what actually comes up within yourself. I'm getting the question of what is it that you really want. So maybe for some of you feel torn between these two energies that I've described. Okay, they're not wanting to step away from this card yet. It's like there's lots of energy here. There's lots of drive. There's a lot of magnetism and polarity here. I almost feel like I'm getting the sense of like if you have two batteries and you have the two opposite ends. I can't remember what it's called to explain it. I think it's if you hold like a positive and a positive next to each other, they don't actually magnify and stick together. They push each other away a little bit. Like there's, yeah. It's almost like you can't have both. It's almost as if they don't exist side by side. It's like you feel like if you do one, you miss out on the other or something like that. But the two can coexist and integrate together in a much more stable, settled way. But I also want to, I'm not really sure, unless there's something here that you know about these two scenarios playing out where they really don't go hand in hand, where like maybe the people from the two scenarios don't match up or something like that, or maybe you feel like you can't be your whole self in either of these scenarios and that you can only really be part of yourself in either one, and that you have to go to the other scenario to actually feel like the other part of yourself. There's something not integrated here, but it's weird because there's that whole solid foundation message, so I'm not sure what's really going on here yet. I'm just hoping that as we like work through this, it'll become clearer. I'm also getting that there's like a weird sense of illusion. Okay, I'm getting some sort of message about like partying and carrying on all night long won't get you anywhere if it like lasts forever or something like that. So it's like it's okay to do it, and it's still okay to do it regularly and, you know, every now and then, but it's just like a not a all the time thing, like to live that way. I feel like there's some polarizing energy here where for some of you, maybe you've been like partying too hard, and for some of you, it's like all you want to do is step outside your border and boundary, and it is to party, and maybe you're scared that it's going to be, you'll get more than what you've bargained for in a sense. Maybe you feel like you might lose control, or maybe you'll be pushed outside of your solid foundation or your boundaries in some way by doing this, by partaking in this, what seems like a reasonably healthy environment. The only thing that would not be healthy about it is if you never stopped, if that makes sense. Like, it's still okay to have a blowout, and it's still okay to enjoy yourself and to dance and to go out and to be seen and to engage. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. It's really, there's some, yeah, okay. I do feel for some of you where what this is about, it's almost as if you feel like if you're too irresponsible, it'll essentially compromise or have you forfeit what you're working towards, okay? Something that you've put in a lot of hard work in, finessing over time, something that you've been dedicated to, okay? So now that we've got that out of the way, it's, I do feel there's a sense of maybe being, what is it? Quite happy within yourself, and maybe other people around you don't always like that. I do feel like you are protected from any sort of evil eye or anything like that at this point in time. And it's purely one of those things where it's like, because you're doing well or happy within yourself or comfortable or confident within yourself, there's something there that's like shining that light on these people that are not necessarily comfortable with it, or that feel the need to take you down a peg, because it shines the light within that lack within themselves. So maybe you're comfortable and they don't allow themselves to be comfortable, so they see it within you, and there's some, that mirroring is going on, or not mirroring, sorry, but it's shining that light on that thing that they don't like about or within themselves, okay? You're doing the thing that they wish that they could, or they don't give themselves permission to, or they let somebody else take away their power, okay? And I'm getting another message here of like, don't let other people take away your power. For some of you, the person that they're referring to is that from that solid foundation, where maybe they were like a marital partner or something like that. For others of you, they could have just been a person in your life that you felt was actually quite solid, and this same person could have a lot of fiery energy. They could be tempered, or they could have some fire placements, but that doesn't have to be the case. I'm just getting that like ultimate fulfillment is within yourself, and to be cool, calm, and let it flow. So anything that comes up, move with it. It's like, let yourself experience the ebbs and flows of life. Let yourself experience the ebbs and flows of emotions, the roller coasters of the ups and downs, and just hold space for yourself to embody all of it. Seems to be a bit of a theme of a message here today, is to allow yourself to hold space, to embody everything that you're experiencing, okay? It is valid, it is real, it is unique, or your individual experience, and I think it's good. And it's also that embodying self-compassion and feeling safe to be able to do so, to be able to, feeling safe enough to be able to feel your own emotional experience. This is a weird message. Something about anything within her heart is what she wants, and anything outside of her heart is what she needs. So take that as that applies. Don't try to make anything fit. For some of you, there's a level of security here that is provided through this sense of love. Yeah. Yeah, it's like some relationship or love is giving you a sense of security, even though it's mostly fulfillment. Another self-compassion message is just like holding everything that you are within your hands and being very careful with it, okay? And letting yourself be yourself, and letting yourself have emotions, and letting yourself feel the things and outwardly express it, and be who you are and be yourself. It's all, yeah. Letting yourself be like water, letting yourself change from one state to another. You don't actually have to just be one thing all the time. You're human, you're allowed to change. You're allowed to, you know, change like the seasons and, yeah, the seasons of life, okay? This is a weird one as well. It's that none of these messages are necessarily weird. It's just that they're coming through to me in a way that I don't quite understand. So hopefully you do. When I first look at this card, it's like that boredom, or sometimes there can be a sense of maybe taking things for granted or something like that. But I was getting a message of something about being like sick of the pain, sick of the, what was it now? I've lost it. No. Sick of the self-depreciation. Sick of the mundane, sick of the sadness, sick of the overwhelm. Sick of anything not self-worthing, not self... Jesus, this... I'm just hearing if it's too much, it's okay to let it go. So, yeah. Maybe it feels like it takes up too much of your time or something. For some of you, I feel like you'd much rather be these people like outside partying than inside the tent. Okay, so they're highlighting that it's about what's going on in the dark. It's basically about what's going on that you can't see. And there's, for those of you in a romantic relationship, it's not about cheating or anything like that. When they're talking about what's going on in the dark and the things that are hidden or that you can't see, they've basically said that it's like you'll get to know things that you previously didn't, about yourself through this relationship, and you'll probably experience the world in a different way where you then develop a deeper understanding of how the world operates, but more specifically how you and your person, mostly you, how you operate within the world, and probably the reasons for previous patterns and all that sort of thing, okay? Yeah. Okay, so basically taking action from where you were. I want to say taking swift action from where you were. Maybe even following a hunch or something like that here. I'm not really sure what it is. Yeah. Whatever it is, it's like really fruitful. There's like a time of harvest or something coming in that's inevitably going to really help you continue to work on the longevity of something. I feel like it's mostly well-being, but for some of you it will be like a business thing as well. But for a lot of you it could just be like that home life, like maybe it's not necessarily financial, but it is more about like material possessions and stuff. This is bizarre. They're just saying that there's something else that we've missed here that's going on in the dark that will show you something, like through this connection, that will show you something about yourself that you and the world around you that you like never seen coming, or you never could have like imagined how much you're going to learn from this situation. Okay, so there's some sort of like deep gift, there's something to celebrate, and there's some level of deep gift here coming out. It's like this must be a period of great like learning and development and growth in some senses, but it's more like a long-term thing. Okay, it's not something that's happening overnight. This is like something that you're developing within yourself. This could be something for you that develops within you in your vessel. I'm trying to think the best way to explain it is just within you, like personal growth or development or something like that. For some of you, there's a sense of like a worldly knowledge, and a little bit of maybe some of it could be wisdom as well, okay? For some of you, your wisdom is what will keep you protected, or what has been keeping you protected. Okay, oh no, there's something else here. What's this? I'm getting that like Johnny Cash song, like The Ring of Fire, coming through. So that may be significant for someone. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the crystals that you chose. So we have the Tourmaline, so ultimately like quite protective. Where is that? That one. And then we had the Aquamarine. Yeah. And we had the Moss Agate. Okay. Yeah, so it's like this journey of self-growth and development and self-compassion and self-love is ultimately protected. It's almost like, in a sense, they're protecting you and your heart so that you don't really sustain any of the damage here. It's whatever it is, it's like you're being shielded from it, you're being protected from it. For some of you, it's like something about the unseen. What is it? Cloaking some of you from the unseen, but then for some of you it's like illuminating whatever the unseen thing is. And maybe that in itself can be the level or the sense of protection here, where it's like you find something out that you didn't know before. Maybe it makes your heart really light up, or it makes you feel a little bit more sensitive, or maybe even vulnerable than before. I'm getting something here about there may be some level of like hurt, pain, sadness, or sense of grief or something like that. But I don't feel like anything new here has necessarily happened unless it's something that we're not meant to know about, hence why messages about the unseen and whatever keep coming through. But I don't feel like, I don't know, this is bizarre. I'm sorry if this is one that's a bit harder to make sense of. It's one that has been harder for me to make sense of with what's been coming through, because it seems to jump all over the place a little bit. Sometimes when this happens, it's just like, you know, it can be very complex situations, or sometimes there can be like a couple of different groups within the reading. I'm getting something about the journey being more important than where you started out from and where you end up. So it's not about the destination or where you come from, it's about the journey itself. And for some of you, clearing your energy or putting, what is it? Clearing energy or what? For some of you, clearing your heart energy is going to be really important here. And even if it's not about clearing your heart energy, it may just be like cooling your heart energy. And it might sound a bit bizarre, but I guess what I'm trying to say is sometimes we can be a little bit fiery in our heart, and sometimes we need that element of water, that soft, supportive, nourishing, nurturing element, fulfillment, to help sort of balance that that chi or that fire and water situation there. Okay, this helps you stay cool and flexible and you know, like water off a duck's back, like not so bothered by things. Yeah, like kind of relaxed, I guess you could say. Yeah. And then for some of you, the connection for the divine, the answer is through your heart. And for some of you, ultimately being grounded is what will actually help empty your heart. So maybe if you get too much fire or too much water in the heart space, you can ground yourself to really help balance things out. I just got a very bizarre message, and this, it was something about like feeling lightheaded isn't necessarily a symptom of separation anxiety. It's like something else within you. So disclaimer, readings don't ever substitute the need or the use of any sort of medical or professional, appropriate professional. So definitely have yourself seen to if you think that's something that you need to do. I'm getting another message here of everything within you is heart fulfilling and warm. Let yourself be loved. Maybe some of you protect yourself so much and keep yourself at a distance from that opportunity for like real connection and real heartfelt connection and feelings and relationships and intimacy. And it can sort of leave you feeling like you're on the outer, and maybe you do feel bored at times, maybe you do feel taken for granted because you have no one to really share your whole world with, and all the things that make you you and all the interesting things and the fulfilling things, maybe you feel like you've actually got no one to share with. And maybe that's why you can sort of feel on the outside of these like, you know, celebrations and I'm wanting to say serendipitous times, so that might mean something to some of you as well. I was also getting a message before this reading. The word sublimination was coming through, and I actually have no idea what it is, and I use my phone to record these videos, so I can't search on the internet till after I finish the video, so hopefully some of you know what that means. It would be great if we can share that in the comments for anybody that you know, that may be helpful for, including myself. And I should just mention that that word sublimination was a message for all of the readings today. It seemed to be something that was a bit of a theme. It wasn't specifically just for this one group, so it may not necessarily apply to everybody, but you'll know, you should know if it does. Okay. I'm hearing that your long-term work will require like finances and stability to achieve this. So it's like whatever maybe that end goal is that you need to be working on it throughout this time. So maybe for some of us, we are left in a place of feeling more lonely or distant or concerned with matters of the heart, than, you know, living our lives where we're living our own life. Not, you know, we're more concerned with our own lives than we are with the lives of other people. And that maybe when we actually do take action and move on with what it is that we want in our lives, then we will actually have that ability to open ourselves up for some greater things, instead of feeling like we might have to struggle at times when we don't really have to. And it can be hard, because if that's what you want, then that, I guess, is what you in a sense are feeling like you're going after, but it's not the true you know, not objection, that's the wrong word. It's not the thing that's going to give you that ultimate fulfillment that you're looking for. I think you're looking in the wrong area, or not I think, but like what I'm seeing in the cards, it looks like you could be looking in the wrong area for this fulfillment, thinking it's going to come from a different place. And it's more about you doing the things that you want to do and really building on your own financial circumstances, building on your hobbies, building on the things that you love and finding your passions and developing yourself in the world and skill building and all of that. I feel like that's going to give you much more fulfillment than this stuff to do with other people does, or relationships, or maybe there's like this sense of loneliness here. Maybe you've never really had a lot of time to spend enough time on your own to get to enjoy your own company or your own alone time. Maybe you've been left feeling in a space of, you've always been around people and you feel like you need the people around to feel fulfilled, where it would actually be really nice for you if you grew comfortable in your own company, and you gave yourself and allowed yourself the time to develop these things that you really want to. And I think they're actually quite near and dear to your heart. And I think that you maybe underestimate yourself or your capability, or maybe you just get purely way too distracted with all of this other stuff, to where you don't actually take action towards the things that you really want and would be really good for you. This one. And I'm getting something here about like the seasons and times are changing, and like they always will, sort of thing. I get a sense of maybe it's maybe you just want to end up at the end result. Like you don't want to have to go through that stage of developing something or starting out. Maybe it's maybe there's something about like starting out seems a little bit mundane, or like you don't want to wade through the development stages where you have to probably be a bit more patient with things, taking time. There's like an essence of just wanting to reach the end result and not having enough patience for yourself to allow yourself to get there. So if you can be more patient with yourself, I feel like it will ultimately, like it'll work in absolute favor to you to be able to do so. And a lot of this like quick fiery energy is short-lived and ultimately fulfilling temporarily in the moment, not long-term. And what they're wanting you to do is develop some form of long-term fulfillment. I don't know about fulfillment, but abundance for sure. Yeah. I am getting another message here of like filling up on yourself, where you're like, I don't know if you've done some work on your self-worth, or if that's a topic that is coming up for you to actually do some work on. So either way, it seems important, because this level of self-worth to me is appearing in every card, where maybe at moments in time you look at it when you feel called to, but you don't give it enough center stage. It's like you're not giving yourself the level of importance that you deserve in your own life, where yeah, that's what it is. Okay, cool. Glad we got through that. So then next thing that I want to do is pull another card. I'm really glad that that sort of tied through at the end there, because I was really unsure of where this was going, but it actually seemed to make sense. And that tends to happen in some of my readings anyway. We sort of go through card by card as we work out what the message is. Yeah, hopefully that made sense to you, and there was some extra little messages in there that were helpful. Holding my thumb over this picture because it's not appropriate for YouTube. And the card is the Tower card. The Tower card is usually the false foundations crumbling away, as there's something that would have never been a solid enough foundation for us to really like have true growth or rely on anyway. This particular card looks like infidelity happening. And if it's not infidelity, it's maybe just the breakdown of a relationship, or the build-up of putting a person on a pedestal that maybe didn't deserve to be there anyway. So that will be a specific message for some people, but ultimately I don't feel like this is for everybody in the group. Yeah. I'm just getting that reiteration that you'll know if that is for you, okay? Just gonna leave that card upside down while we have a look at the rest, because I feel like it's brought up new messages. Oh no, that's it. Okay. For some of you, it's like realizing the person that's the love of your life, or maybe not the person, sorry, that was not part of the message. The message was realizing that the love of your life is not necessarily the love of your life. So it may not have anything to do with infidelity. It may not have anything to do with a person. It may have something to do with whatever it was that you thought that you loved at, you know, in your up till this point in time, or something like that, or in your younger years or something. Maybe a person may not be, yeah. I do feel like all of most of like these cards, right? This one, and this one here. So the Four of Wands, the Seven of Wands, and the Four of Cups. They're all looking back towards the Tower card. And like they're all giving that Tower moment far too much energy and attention. It's taking up too much like rent-free room in the mental space or something. And I wonder if this is something that's happened in your past that you keep looking back to, and it's time to let that go so that you can actually finally move on and look forward, okay? Yeah, that seems to be more of it. The moon was in the background there of that card as well. So maybe whatever that specific thing was that had happened did fill you with a sense of disillusionment, or was confusing for you at the time. It didn't really seem to make sense. Something else here. I feel like this Tower moment was really hard for you to walk away from. So it's like maybe you had that situation that crumbled to the ground, that false foundation falling away to make room for better things, to allow for that like true growth and development. But you were so like invested in it that it was really hard for you to walk away from it even after it was already happening or had already happened. Like it had already played out, this tower moment, and it's like you couldn't bring yourself to actually leave it. I'm just getting something about some of you need to remember to take like breaths or deeper breaths or something like that. And they're just saying that like any answers that you need are already within you. Let's try again. There's also something pointing out here that this symbol may mean something to some of you. I don't know a lot about it. I believe it would be like the pentagram. Maybe it's a symbol of protection for some of you. There could be a lot more significant underpinnings of what that symbol could mean for different people. It's not something that I know of. Okay, cool. Now that we're at this stage, we're just going to quickly sage the cards and hopefully any of this energy and that may have come up during this space. So this is a bit bizarre because it's meant to be like an energy check-in reading, and I guess it is in a sense that it's checking into where you're at with everything, just to help pull that all together there in case that didn't really make sense for some of you. Yeah, is that everything? I feel like we need one more card. Okay, cool. So we've had two pop out. Okay, so we have the Queen of Cups here and the Three of Swords. So there's a sense of like a level of, what is it? Like emotional maturity that's been reached here, where you are quite good at like fulfilling your own, what is it? You're quite good at reaching your own fulfillment, but it's like the two things can coexist where sometimes you do still have that sadness that you experience, okay? But it doesn't mean that you haven't made progress. You're actually doing a lot better than you think that you have. And it's just something that you'll need to continue to work on. And it's probably something that you'll find will continue to come up over time. And it's not necessarily always actually respective to the level of work that you've done on yourself. Like that doesn't necessarily always show up as a reason why sometimes old things come up. Sometimes they just come up because they come up and like it was an old experience. And I don't know, like I don't think it's ever worthwhile like criticizing yourself over the level of work that you've done when you know that you're actively continuously working towards it, okay? There's definitely a message here of like you're actively trying to embody this Queen of Cups energy, and they're basically saying that nothing that you've done goes in vain or is in vain. Like everything that you do is a step in the right direction and it actually matters, okay? So don't underestimate what you've done so far or what you do. I am seeing like my feet in water, so for some of you that could be like walking in the water at the beach or a stream or something like that, some body of water, or even if you just have like a foot soak, something like that, just dipping your feet in water would be like really good. It may help transmute some of the energy that you're experiencing. And for others of you, it is an example, a strong message to clear your energy using water. You could just have a shower and imagine that the water coming out of the shower head is like full of like white light or clean new energy or something like that, and that as the water falls on you, it washes away all the old energy that's stagnant and no longer serves you. That's like a really easy practice, right? Most of us have showers. If you don't, like a body of water or something like that would be good. There's, you know, chakra clearing meditations and all sorts of things that you can look up on the internet anyway, or energy clearing meditations that you can look up that may be helpful for you if that's a way that you would rather go. But I do feel like water is significant here for this group for a reason, and it would probably help you connect with and embody that Queen of Cups energy that you've been trying to more successfully than what you know, one of the meditations would be without the element of water. The elements can be really significant. For some of you, it may be like too much water in your energy as it is. So it's, in a bizarre sense, it's like the physical element, being in the presence of the physical element of water will help you transmute that energy easier than if you didn't have it, because you hold so much internal, I want to say emotional energy of the element of water. So it's like you'll transmute the energy a lot more easily because of that synchronicity, even though they're two different types. And remembering that you're protected, and if you're ever worried about being stuck or consumed with your emotions, you 100% can seek out the appropriate professional help that you need if you feel so. But please keep in mind that the more that we let ourselves feel and experience things, the quicker that we process them and the quicker we move through them because of that, and the quicker we show ourselves that we are capable of actually moving through something because we've done it before, okay? There's almost like a quiet confidence, or maybe not even a quiet confidence, is kind of like not the case for everybody. For some of us, it's just like an innate nature or an innate part of our being that we probably take for granted, is this ability to be able to do so, okay? All three of these crystals are grounding in nature. Yeah. For some of you, there's a message to use the Tourmaline if that's something that you're interested in doing, to work with protecting the heart space, or even the solar plexus, as like during this time when you may be feeling vulnerable or doing all this work on yourself. Remembering to have that compassion for yourselves. Also not penalizing yourself or being regretful of things that you feel like could have turned out better, because we ultimately don't have control on how things turn out anyway. And even if you went back and did something differently, which A, you don't have the option or ability to be able to do so, but B, it may not have worked anyway, in the way that we may think in our head. And that you just need to be kinder to yourself, and being kinder to yourself will be part of the protection that you'll give yourself from other people, okay? Where we don't allow other people's expectations or things that they say to overrule us. Ultimately, they don't have your heart, they don't have your experience, they don't have your life, you know, all that sort of stuff, okay? Just because a person can't see where you're coming from or understand you or be on the same page as you, doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but it doesn't mean that you owe them anything either, okay? For some of you, there's also like a message of protecting yourselves through heavier times. especially I guess if you're experiencing like a tower moment where there is the sense of like the foundations crumbling away, because that can really just leave things all over the place, and it can leave us feeling in a sense of like consumed or overwhelmed by everything that's going on, and it can be really intense. I feel like this is a group that if anybody's going to get triggered, these, you know, you may be some of the people that tend to get triggered more at this point in time than previously. And Tourmaline will be a wonderful crystal for you to work with if that's something that you want to do. Another thing, this is a bit bizarre, but if it's something that you're inclined to do, if you don't want to, if you'd rather this, you know, way of doing it, maybe if you close your eyes to do a meditation and you envision or imagine this like heart with the Three of Swords, and imagine yourself pulling the swords out of your heart, like each one, get all three. Try not to like make any of the wounds bigger or deeper than they already are, or cuts. Don't try to, you know, just get them out and get rid of them. If you can, it would be really good to put them in a white light of some kind. If not, don't stress, one thing at a time. So we just want to get the swords out without making the wounds worse. Put them in white light if you can, and afterwards I want you to hold your hands over your heart space while you're meditating after the sword's been pulled out, and imagine that all of the wounds and the cuts within and around your heart are being clear, like healed some way. Maybe the surface no longer looks like there's actually a wound there or something like that. It's just an energetic exercise or practice that you can try that for some of you may be more significant than you may realize or give it worth. If you try that and it doesn't necessarily feel like it's done a great deal for you, I mean, you've lost nothing anyway. It's all worth a try, I guess. What else do we have here? Let's see. That's everything that I actually have for you today, group 2. So thanks for taking the time to go through this reading and get to a point where it started to make sense. I hope that this resonated for you, and like if it did, please let me know in the comments, because it's always helpful to know if the readings are actually hitting for people. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in another video. Welcome group 3 to today's reading. If you chose the red tiger's eye, the Labradorite and the rainbow moonstone, then this is your energy check-in reading for today. Today we're using the Light Seers Tarot, and the overarching energy or card that was underneath the crystal specific to your reading is the Page of Wands. And I'm getting an element here of this being a time of learning for you, giving things a go, testing things and seeing what happens, and even to the point sometimes you may accidentally burn yourself during the process, but it's just all a part of learning in life. And you're probably not, it wouldn't be worthwhile taking it any more seriously than what it's worth. Yeah. Nothing can be lost by giving yourself time to test things and it could be like a time of great introspection, maybe even a little bit of isolation for some of you. It could just be a case of like a journey of wisdom or developing character or something like that. Intuitive connection, or getting to know yourself better. I'm getting something about some people swim to the depths of the oceans to find themselves. And they don't always come back. And they want me to highlight that this person in this card is, they are above the water. They're not in the depths of the ocean. And that they have this golden light almost coming out of themselves, where it's like they are enlightened within themselves in some way. So it's really significant there that you understand that you've done something, you've learned something, or managed to do something that maybe other people haven't been able to. There's like a level of experience or wisdom or something that can come with this. And maybe sometimes a level of defensiveness, although I do feel like you're smarter than that. For some of you, there's a lot of confidence that was gained during this learning period. And it's ultimately helping you step into yourself. And when I say step into yourself, it's stepping into yourself from a heart space. And for some of you, it's you learning this deep, gaining this deep introspective insight within yourself helps you see the rest of the world a lot more deeply, because we can only see other people to the depths in which we have seen ourselves. And even in times where you're surrounded by the darkness, you're like your own light that can help you light your way. Like, you don't need something else outside of yourself. You will always, there's like a sense of you always being protected, or you always being embodying the light or something like that, okay? Yeah. I don't know if some of you are feeling like you're answering some sort of call at this point in time, or if you feel like you've been judged in some way. The truth is, if you are feeling like you have been judged, the message is that, like, you know, only God can judge me, or whatever you subscribe to, right? Like, the universe would never judge you anyway, because the level of higher consciousness doesn't allow for judgment as it is. But, you know, only ultimately the universe or whatever higher power you subscribe to is what could judge you anyway, right? Because they're the only ones that have seen you in your full existence to the depths at which you've probably seen yourself, and if not know you better than you do you. And you need to have compassion for yourself. And there's probably an element here of learning to let go of something as well. I do feel like when things get heated for you, it would be really good for you to ground yourself in some way, where you're still able to embody the fire and be grounded at the same time. Ultimately, I feel like it'll be a call for a celebration or a sense of freedom here, or liberation, or something that comes from when you actually realize, like, you know, even if you don't subscribe to the thing of like a higher power or higher consciousness, it could just be that, like, you are the only person that can judge you, okay? Because you're the only person that actually understands your experience to the depths that you do and whatnot. And that once you get to that point where it's only internal validation and not needing the approval of others is when you'll really truly celebrate and appreciate things and really live life to the fullest. Okay, you'll really like embody what it is to have fun and experience freedom in a totally different way that you probably haven't before. And it's totally freeing, and it sets you up for the adventure of a lifetime. And even if it is coming off as a bit foolish in other people's eyes, that's their eyes, and it's not necessarily true to what, or fitting to what your experience will be. Okay, what may look foolish to some people may also just be liberation to a person who has found their own sense of freedom within themselves. And it doesn't matter what it looks like, because it's going to look differently for each of us. And if they had gotten to that point, they may understand that. But there's also a sense here, as just as much as we, you know, don't need anyone's approval within ourselves, just because you may be at a point where you have learnt certain lessons in life doesn't give you, you know, it doesn't mean that you come from a place of, I guess, judging others or condemning them for the fact that they haven't also experienced this in their lives, because we all experience different things at different times. Okay, we all develop at different rates, and life is set up very differently for each of us. It's like orchestrated in a perfect osmosis or equilibrium of the world for us to have our direct specific experiences that we're meant to, so that we learn. I don't know how to explain it. No, it's like one of these things that I've like experienced in a state of higher consciousness. Now I'm not there. I don't know how to really explain it. I don't really have the, ultimately it's all just a journey of learning lessons, and all we can do is just be in the present moment and learn our lessons. Have fun with it. That's like, if you're not already having fun with it, have more fun with it. Like, because I feel like there's actually, I don't know what your situation is like that's playing out in life for you at the moment, but this seems lovely, and it seems deep, and it seems fun, and it seems adventurous, and I love it. And it seems lively too, right? Like, even though, you know, there's a really nice balance here that I don't think I've seen in many of the readings come up before, of like deep introspection, but also being like really grounded in the present moment and having fun and making the most of it. Like, it's lovely. Yeah. Just learning as you go. Just like, maybe for some of you, it's a message to not take things so seriously, and just experiment and just see what happens, and just let yourself make mistakes and let yourself learn, and just give yourself permission. And you don't need permission from anyone else to give it a go. You don't need permission from other people to determine whether you're the authority or the accredited person. Or maybe accredited, you do. But, you know, you could be like really influential or really good at what you do if you allowed yourself the chance to develop something, like maybe a passion or a hobby or a craft or a creative project or something. And if you always allow other people to dictate whether what you do is good, then you'll never be good, because you'll never let yourself learn. You've got to give yourself that chance to really develop there, and allow yourself to learn, and allow yourself to start out from the very beginning and make mistakes, and let it be messy, and just work it out as you go. Okay, it's all right. Like, there's no book that's going with you to your grave that's a rap sheet of all the mistakes you've ever made. It's okay to let go of it. So any of you that may be experiencing any level of anxiety or, you know, something like that, maybe just having a go is going to be the first freeing thing that you can do when you let yourself do it. Okay, when we have children, we don't teach our children that it has to be perfect from the get-go as they're learning. When they're like infants or toddlers, they would probably never want to try if it had to be perfect every time, or it would create great anxiety within them. We facilitate an environment that allows them to develop, and we should be doing that for ourselves. You'll probably, if you haven't already from your current experience, you'll probably develop a greater sense of confidence and a stronger sense of like willpower or competence within yourself, because you know that you can do it. You know that you are capable, okay? Yeah, it's like a sense of confidence within your capabilities. I'm just getting something here about giving it a go is worth more than its weight in gold. And I'm just getting that filling your heart through the lens of others, filling your heart through the expectations of other people's lenses is never going to be fulfilling for you. And that life is like a canvas, and all you have to do is pick up the paintbrush, and the sooner that you start, the sooner you'll have a picture painted, okay? And this should be something heart-led. Do what you want to do. It's not about other people, okay? All right. What else do we have here? For some of you, dancing may be really freeing and may help you like move some stagnant energy and loosen up a little bit to allow you to step into this energy of like fun or doing something that you enjoy. Yeah. Okay, group 3, that's everything that I have for you today. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in another video.